All right, I'll get this started now. I only have an audience of one, but hey, that's good enough for me. So I tried one of these last time, but I didn't say anything. I just kind of drew some stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to get started. I want to show you guys sort of my process and how I handle these digital drawings. I put up a lot of drawings every day, basically, and yeah, a lot of people don't know how I do this stuff. So this is a little window into what I do and how I do it. So the first thing I want to show you is like the first rough that I did, which is this. Doesn't look like much. It's just a quick gesture drawing. It's not very good, but you know, it gives me an idea of what I want to do. And then I turn this into a light blue color that I can redraw over, and I do another pass. And so that's what this is right here. Still rough, but you know, you're starting to see something of a character there. Then I get rid of the that first layer, and then I will go on to the next step. Do the same thing a couple times until I get something that I like. And this is kind of basically ready to go from here, but I got the hair wrong. This character's name is Spence, one of my commissioner's original characters. I don't know what he's all about, but I got his hair wrong. So I would just draw over this, and then I came up with this. This is the final drawing that I have here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish this up with the clean lines and inks. So that's basically what you're going to see today. So I would just do the same thing, turn this into a blue layer, light blue layer, and then I would start drawing on top of that. So let's get right into it. Alright, so I don't really have any, doesn't really matter where you start, but alright, I'll just kind of go at it now. So a lot of people think that my work is like somehow automated. They're like, how are your lines so clean? Well, they're actually not too clean. If you zoom up, you can tell, you know, there's little squiggles there. But I don't know, man. You just kind of get used to it, and you know. And some people ask things like, "Are you doing all this on a mouse?" No, I work on a tablet. This is a Cintiq 13-inch, 13 HD Cintiq, something like that. It's a drawing screen tablet, screen drawing tablet, something like that. So this is really handy. I know a lot of people who start digitally drawing, they use a Bamboo or Intuos, but it's just not as good as a Cintiq, because you can see what you're drawing. I did start on a Bamboo when I first started out, but you know, it's just, you know, you get that disconnect, because on those tablets, there's a little tablet on the side that you draw on, but you have to look up at a monitor, so you don't,
you don't know really what you're doing, so you don't have as much control. But the thing I'm working on now, it's basically the closest you can get to drawing on paper, but it does feel like you're drawing on glass. So it's a little weird, and it takes a bit of a learning curve. Um, I have some artist friends who I lent a tablet to, and they just couldn't get into it. Which is understandable. I haven't drawn on paper for a really long time, and that's probably not a good thing as an illustrator. But it's just with a computer, it's just so easy. You don't have to buy anything. It's all right there. It's very convenient. Um, but I definitely should draw on paper more. But it's just this is so nice. Drawing on the computer, I can just chill and relax. Um, but anyways, that's yeah, my brain's getting a little scatterbrained because I'm drawing. I might not make much sense as I'm doing this, but I figured I'd talk to you guys just a little bit. You know, the first live stream that I did, I didn't say anything. It was a little awkward, so I just wanted to fill the dead space. Um, there is some music in the background, but that's for me. I just need something playing, whether it's music or a podcast or something. This is royalty-free music, um, so I'm not gonna get in trouble for this. Oh, what's up, Roy? Thank you. I can already tell this will come out amazing. Thanks, man. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep drawing, and hopefully more people tune in as I'm doing this. Even if it's just the three of you, that's fine with me. This is kind of just for me too, because I find myself sometimes when I'm drawing, I just get so easily distracted, because I'm on the computer with the internet at my disposal. I'll start drawing and then I'll just be on YouTube and then stop drawing and then get carried away with YouTube videos and stuff like that. So this is just kind of for me to, stay focused, keep drawing. You guys can hold me accountable. Hey, what's up, Sayadul? Am I saying your name right? I might not be. I don't know. Sorry. But thanks for joining me. I know you were here last time, so it's good to see you again. This time I get to talk to you guys. So, if you guys want to chime in with anything you want to talk about, um, feel free to ask me any questions. I'm going to be drawing, so I might not see everything, but I'll try to pop in and see, you know, see what's going on. Okay, cool. Sasmos09. Yeah, I remember you. Thank you for your business. uh, so yeah, a lot of Earth 27 people here. I see. You guys are the best. You guys really inspire me to keep doing my craft. Yeah, I might get silent every now and then because I just, I gotta draw. But I want to keep doing these. I want to keep doing these live streams and keep you guys entertained, not with just my drawing, but just to keep you guys company. I don't know. You guys can keep me company as well. Uh, I saw my first live stream and I realized that it's actually pretty boring. It's just watching some guy draw and not say anything. Uh, so I'm gonna try to make this a little bit more fun for someone who's, not that interested in the drawing process. But maybe you'll be interested in me as a person. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens from here. I kind of want to double this as a kind of like a solo podcast or something like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. This might be the second and last one. I'm not sure, but we'll keep this going. I'm a big fan of drawing characters with facial hair. I just think it's just fun. Don't smoke, kids. I know this guy's smoking, but I'm guessing he started when he was young, and then it was too late for him. But just don't do it. It's not good for you, kids. You guys might be older than me. I don't even know. But all right, here we go. Here we go. Getting into that facial hair. Yeah, I like drawing hair because it's a little bit more organic. The lines don't need to be exactly straight. You know, you can kind of just have fun with it. That's fun. I like to add a little bit of these lines to, you know, get that implied hair. But at least with my style, you don't want to get too carried away because I am going for, you know, a little bit more of a cartoony style. So a lot of the stuff that's missing, um, I try to make up for it when I get to the colors. But I want to get ahead of myself, so let's just keep moving along. Man, ears are a weird thing. They're I feel like I still don't really know how to draw them properly, but it's all right. But this is okay because a lot of his hair is covering it. He's got kind of a fat ear, but that's okay. He looks like the kind of guy with fat ears. And, okay, his eyes are looking a little bit off, so I'm gonna try to fix that. His eye looks a little bit bigger or something. Oh, okay. I got a question from Austin. What turned you on to drawing in the first place? You know, the same thing for everyone, I think. Doesn't everyone draw as a kid, you know? When you're like, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4, parents give you a piece of paper and some crayons, and, you know, you just start having fun, making marks on a piece of paper, and I just never turned back. I think that's the main difference between artists and I guess everyone else who doesn't do this for a living. Is, you know, us artists, we just never let that stuff go. We never really get to grow up all the way because we're just fascinated with putting some lines on a piece of paper. Um, you know, this is kind of a weird thing because for, you know, I don't know about you guys. Well, you know, you guys are my fans, right? That's still kind of weird for me, but. You know, for the people in my life, they don't really see me as an artist. You know, they've known me my whole life, so they just uh, they still think it's kind of weird what I do. They don't completely understand it, and that's not entirely their fault. I don't really know how to explain it either. But you know, it just blows their minds that people are paying me to draw stuff for them, and you know, I got to be honest, it surprises me too. Um, did I even answer the question? What? Okay, what turned me into drawing in the first place? You know what? I think it would have to be Batman, you know. Batman the Animated Series was the first cartoon superhero that I was introduced to, and I just fell in love with that art style. My reasons for liking Batman now are a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more adult, I guess. But as a kid, the thing that drew me to Batman was the design of the character. I just thought he looked really interesting. He just looked really cool. And my lifelong dream as a kid was to be able to do that myself someday. And I can, so it's pretty cool. So I would say, yeah, Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man the Animated Series, all those superhero cartoons coming out as a kid, and oh, Dragon Ball Z, of course, can't forget that. Watching all these cartoons, I just wanted to be able to draw in that style. So that's what got me into it, and I just never gave it up. And you know, there's that age-old question. You know, is it practice or is it talent? Man, you know, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely did have a natural inclination to be, you know, decent at it, and I definitely had an edge over my classmates and things like that. I think a lot of it was just positive reinforcement. You know, people in my life, they would look at my drawings and say, "Hey, wow, you're really good," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And yeah, I just kept going with it, and that's where I just decided, hey, well, maybe I can do this for a living. Kind of a crazy dream, but not so crazy now. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I did apply to a job recently. Didn't get hired. A little discouraged by that, but hey, you know what? You guys are my fans. You guys support what I do, and that's all I can really ask for. You guys definitely, you know, give me the reason to keep doing what I do. You guys are the best. Okay, let's see. Roy says people with facial hair are scientifically proven to be better people. It's a fact. Okay. I guess it's time to grow out some facial hair. Um, we will see. We will see. Okay, Kylo Juju says, I'm actually buying one of those tablets used to draw. You know that those that connect via USB. I don't know how is called. Okay. Well, if you're starting out, I would suggest you go with a bamboo or something. I think you can get one for a little less than $100. It is, these things aren't cheap, but they're good tools to learn how to get into this stuff. Um, but one thing I will say though, for people who do want to get into digital drawing, make sure you know how to draw on paper first. You know, uh, even though there are quick shortcuts to drawing digitally, there aren't shortcuts to everything. You do need to learn how to draw first. So if you're not confident in your drawing with just good old pencil and paper, I wouldn't be so quick to jump onto the digital train. But if you are confident in your drawing abilities, I would say start off with a bamboo or something like that, and once you get comfortable with that, once you save up enough money, you should invest in a Cintiq tablet. That's what I work on, and working on this is really nice. This is probably uh, the most comfortable, the most like drawing with traditional materials because you can actually see the marks that you're putting down. But you just look around. I'm not the best guy to turn to for this kind of advice. There's other resources for that. uh, Kylo Juju. Yeah, I think you were here last time. You keep telling me what to do. Hey, I'm the captain of this shit, okay? So I make the calls here. In terms of what I'm doing, don't tell me what to do. Thanks for tuning in, but you know, I've already got my thing going. Also, this isn't my character. This character belongs to one of my commissioners, so I'm kind of I'm just doing what he wants. So I don't have that kind of creative freedom to just mess around with what I want to do here. At some point I do want to just draw my own stuff and live stream that, and then I think really cool stuff could happen. You guys can put in some input and I can make those changes and things like that. But for what I'm doing right now, I'm working on a commission, so this isn't something that you can really put your input in. But feel free to keep putting that stuff down. But I'm gonna keep going with what I've got as requested from my commissioner. Do I have my own characters I'd like to create someday? Oh yeah, definitely. Are you kidding me? I mean, if it was up to me, man, I would just do my own characters all day, every day. But that doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. Maybe someday, maybe it will. But right now, I just don't know how to monetize that. Maybe with this YouTube thing, that might work. But I'm not sure. I've only got 9 viewers now, so that's not not the I wouldn't be able to get money that way. But I do have characters in mind that I'd like to do at some point. It's been like I feel like it's been like 5 years, 5-6 years since I've even done anything for myself. Been just keeping busy with other people's projects, getting plugged in with other things, and I don't want to call it selling out, because I don't think it is, because I am drawing for a living. That's hardly selling out, but I do need to make money somehow. I think what it is, I have poor time management skills. I just I end up spending too much of my art hours on commissions, and so that's all I've been able to do. And when once after I'm done with the commissions, I'm clocking out. The kind of characters that I'd like to work on are Actually, not too far from what I do for Roy already. We're working on this thing called Neo Olympus, which maybe I'll live stream one of those one day too. Neo Olympus, it has to do with the Greek gods. It's like his reimagining of them. Definitely check that out. Just look up Neo Olympus on Google or something. Just click on that first DeviantArt link, and you can see some of the designs I've done. But those are the kind of characters that I'd like to design, like my own versions or whatever. Because I do like. I just like mythology. I like all that stuff, and I think that. As much as I'd like to do my own superheroes or something like that, I feel like all the best ideas have been taken. How can you get better than Batman and Superman? You know what I mean? How can you beat Spider-Man or the X-Men? I feel like any superhero I create for myself, it'll just end up being a ripoff of something that I already like. Um, but yeah, the kind of original characters that I have in mind, that it's been kind of marinating in my brain. I don't know when I get to do it, but yeah, they would definitely be godlike in some way. I actually did create some characters while I was in college. You can look through my DeviantArt gallery. I called it Diorum. Diorum is of gods in Latin, and I created a bunch of characters based on old mythologies that a lot of people don't know about. Or some people do, but I created characters like Adonis, Osiris, Mithras, and Romulus. They're all existing mythologies, but I put my own spin to them. I turned them into androids, basically created gods. I think that concept is really interesting too. This idea that these super beings, these like robotic superheroes or that look humanoid, would be like the new gods or something. As I'm talking about all this stuff, I realize that a lot of this stuff isn't entirely original. I'm sure there are things like this somewhere, but those are the types of things that I'd like to design. That's a very long-winded answer, but my brain is really scattered right now as I'm drawing this. So hopefully that answers your question, but I probably don't make much sense right now, but that's all right. This part of the process is one of my favorites because I don't have to think too much because all the lines are there. I'm just kind of just redrawing on top, but you do have to make new decisions too because I am essentially redrawing this thing, so I just have to be aware of what I'm doing and making sure that everything comes out real nice. It's not selling out if you're doing it for the fans. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. What is selling out then? What is selling out? Would selling out be if I worked for DC Comics? In that case, I'm quick to sell out. I guess that would be for the fans too. But yeah, I don't know. I think every artist has to sell out in some capacity at some point. I do have friends who are so focused on creating their own craft, but sometimes that stuff's not marketable. Sometimes that stuff isn't what people are looking for, so you do have to adjust. Luckily for me, though, I feel like my art style is, well, it seems like people like it, So I don't have to sell it too much. I feel like people kind of already like it. Am I sounding like a bad guy now? I don't want to seem too, I don't want to seem like a, man, I'm having a brain fart. What am I trying to say? I don't want to seem like, yeah, I'm definitely not making any sense now. Conceited, that's the word. That took me a while. Yeah, hopefully I don't come off that way. But I do think confidence is the key to getting better at drawing. I once listened to an interview with Jim Lee, and he was saying that uh, you can really tell if an artist is well, not art, illustrator in particular, if they're um, skilled, if you see the confidence in their lines and their strokes. Because a lot of times, what you'll see with a lot of younger artists, and also myself included, is you'll start seeing lines like this kind of stuff going on. Yeah, that's not good. You just want to make some, quick, decisive marks, and that's how you can tell. Oh well, this one needs to be cut down a little bit. But those are the kind of lines you want to make. Don't have to be entirely original. There could be no Star Wars without Flash Gordon. Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, I mean in some ways there are no original ideas. Even Star Wars, it was inspired by a lot of things. It was even inspired by like those old samurai films, old World War II films and stuff like that. So I guess it's finding out how to best remix existing elements and make it your own, which I think a lot of the stuff that Roy's done is, if you look at Earth 27, you look at New Olympus, and all of his other projects, they are sort of like love letters to things that he's already a fan of, but they're completely on their own, which I think is really cool. So I'm really rooting for you, Roy. Hopefully you can get something out there, because I think you are a brilliant storyteller. But yeah, let's just keep going with this drawing. Hopefully it isn't too boring, and I know I'm not making much sense as I'm talking throughout this thing, but it's fun to hang out with my fans. Seven Samurai, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the movie that Star Wars was inspired by. Another thing that I like doing, which maybe I should have done at first, is I like to outline the sort of the silhouette of the character before going into the rest of it. So that's what I'll do with his legs here. Alright. Is there an existing character I've always wanted to draw but haven't yet? Is there? Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say, what have I not done? Because honestly, I'm a big DC Comics fan, and I feel like a lot of that's been covered with Earth 27. So I feel like a lot of those things have been covered for me. But I guess some of the Marvel characters, since I'm so heavily involved with Earth 27, and there aren't many commissioners, of my commissioners, who ask for Marvel stuff, so I just haven't had the chance. But I did do that Black Panther recently, so that was fun. I think, to do the X-Men, and I have done X-Men for a commissioner not too long ago, but those were based on his vision. His vision of the characters were a little bit closer to the movies. They were all black, and they look suited for some live action portrayal of the characters, but I like the yellow and blue, so if I ever did the X-Men, I would definitely keep the yellow and blue. So I feel like those are the ones that I'd want to do the most. Wolverine, Cyclops, Gambit, all those guys. I would love to get my hands on those characters someday, and be able to do my own version, not just have someone commission me and execute their vision, which is mostly what I do. But yeah, I don't know, man. One of these days, I'm gonna just set a day aside and do stuff for fun, and maybe that's what I'll do for these live streams instead. But we'll see. Right now, I'm just working on these commissions just to, just to put something out there. I'm hoping to make my YouTube channel be something, something that people are interested in, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but for now, I'm just doing it for myself and seeing where it takes me. And when I draw, I'm just in my studio by myself, and one of the things that I do miss about being in school was being surrounded by other artists and just talking to people while I'm working on stuff. And I don't really have that now, but I'm hoping that this, doing this live stream will kind of replicate that for me in some way. I know you guys aren't actually here with me, but you kind of are over the internet. Uh-oh. Losing connection. Hopefully it comes back. Alright, okay. I gotta fix this real quick. Little technical difficulties. Alright, we're good. Is it you, or do I only draw DC characters? No, it's not just you. I do draw mostly DC characters. And that's because, I'm working on a project with Roy called Earth 27, and that's basically our reimagining of the DC characters. So that's why you'll see me do a lot of DC stuff. But, I love my DC stuff. If... if Marvel fans want to see me draw Marvel characters, you just gotta step up and commission me, that's just how it's gonna happen. Or Marvel has to hire me, whichever comes first, you know what I mean? And, I have done some Marvel stuff, not too much. Definitely not nearly as much as DC, but, I have done that. Now that I'm talking about Marvel, I think that, it would be cool to get my hands on some of their image characters, like Invincible or Spawn or something like that. I honestly think that some of those comics are more, what am I doing with these shoes? I'm just not gonna do that. But I think some of those stories work a little bit better because they're isolated stories that don't have this long history. DC Comics, Marvel Comics, they've been going on for like 70, 80 years or something. So there's a lot of things that they have to adhere to. There's this long lore that they have to kind of fit into, and it gets hard for people to get into them sometimes. So I feel like if you want to get into comic books, I would suggest going with Invincible. I think Invincible is like one of the best superhero comic books ever made. I'm not up to date with it, but I remember reading a lot of it when I was in college. I was really surprised because I'm gonna contradict myself here based on what I said earlier, but he was able to create a new superhero character that didn't feel like a ripoff of, and I'm talking about Ryan Ottley. He's the creator of Invincible. He was able to create a superhero character that didn't feel like it was ripping off Superman or Spider-Man or anything like that. It felt fresh and new, and that stuff is really cool, man. I hope that we get to see Invincible in a different form, in the media. Something, whether it's like a video game or a movie, animated series, something like that. I feel like that would be really cool. So we'll see what happens. But last I heard, I think Ryan Ottley's working on Spider-Man or something, which I think is a great fit because his style would work really well with Spider-Man. Alright, so I'm just about done the inking process, I guess you could call it. And then I would remove the layer underneath. Just put all these into one folder, call it pencil. Alright, and then I'll start getting into the colors. Well, actually, before that, what I like to do with my character designs to make them pop out a little bit more, I like to create a little stroke around them. And there you have it. There is the finished inks. And now on to the colors. So what I did just there was I created a... Well, I selected the outside of the character with his wand tool, and I selected the inverse of that. So now I've just got the character, and then I created a mask, which is this thing here. So what that does, it allows me to color within the lines. You know, I can go out of the confines of the character, and it'll just, the colors will only show up where the selection is. So that's really helpful for coloring this stuff. So usually I just start off with the skin, you know, and I'll just color the whole thing with this skin tone. And there is that. I forgot a shoelace on the left shoe. Oh, you're right. Oh, thanks for that. Could I talk about the effects you add to portraits sometimes? What kind of effects are you talking about? I'm probably not going to have too much effects on this one, but if I ever work on one that does, I guess I'll talk through it. Alright, let's see. Look at my reference sheet. He has a dark gray bomber jacket. Okay. Oh, cigarette smoking, lightning, stuff like that. You know what? Yeah, I can do that, but I'll get into that after I'm done coloring this guy. So if you can stick around for another, I don't know, 30 minutes or something, I'll get into, yeah, I can add some smoke. He's smoking a cigarette. I'll add a smoke. And just for fun, I'll do some lightning and stuff like that, but it won't be in the final product. But, alright, let's get into coloring his jacket. So what's really handy for the selection tool, I didn't learn about this until recently, but you can sample all the layers. Right now, well, when it's unchecked, if I select his jacket, it just selects the whole thing because it's empty in this jacket layer here. But if I select sample all layers right here, it takes into consideration everything that you see that's open right now in the file, and then it just selects, you know, it'll select this sleeve. So this is really useful for coloring. So it's a pretty cool trick if you're into digital coloring or illustration or anything like that. Hopefully you find that useful or insightful into what I do. Alright, let's just pick a dark gray. And so what happens with the selection tool is it doesn't select everything, so I'll deselect it. So you can see, like, if you zoom up, it doesn't color everything in. So what I like to do is I added a little bit of a stroke. I do 5, and then most of it should be colored in. But just in case, I like to check to see if there are any uncolored spots. So these little dots here, take care of those, take care of that and that. Oh, I forgot about this little pocket thing here. Get that in there. Just go ahead and select this whole thing. All right, jacket has been colored. And then I'll make the insides a bit black. And then I'll get onto the fur part of the jacket. Use a nice warm, light cream color for it, I guess. Yeah, that's fine with me. And let's see, the reference sheet says he has a green shirt. All right. And so if you've been paying attention, I create a new layer for each new color that I put in. I know not every artist does that. It does like fill up the layers a bit, but it just makes it easier for me. I don't know how all the other artists do it, but you know, that's just what I picked up on. You know, that's the other thing with digital drawing. You really have to just kind of do it yourself, and you find out what feels good for you. Not every artist will do it the same way. But you know, it does help to see how other artists do their thing. Um, every now and then, I like to see other people's live stream drawings, and so it gives me some inspiration, some insight on how to tackle different things. But this is how I do it. Shirt's covered, and then he's also got green pants, like a army green. He described it as army green, so I'm thinking like more of an olive type. So let's look for that. It's a little too bright. It's saturated. Let's notch it down a little bit. Alright. Fine with that. And for these little small details, I'll just go in there and brush it in. Pouches, yes. Love how I found so many ways to do pouches. Yeah, you know, all those utility belts and the cargo pants and stuff like that. I don't actually really, I don't like doing these too much, but you know, but you gotta do them. Gotta do the pockets. Yeah, I probably designed like 20 different kinds of utility belts. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I should probably put a little bit more stuff into these. I'll just add, yeah, that's good. And maybe something like that. All right, that's fine. That looks a little bit better, I think. All right, moving on, onward. Let's see, dark brown combat boots. Okay, let's look for that brown. might be a little too dark. Let's lighten it up. Fine with that. And then I'll do like a darker brown for the laces and the soles. Alright, oh wait, forgot about these buttons. I'll do like a gray, like a silver, okay, gray. And I gotta do his hair. Okay, gray and brown hair. Alright, let's see if I can figure that out. Oh no, that's a little too gray. Something in between. No, not quite. Alright, I think I can deal with that. Alright, I got the brown, and then I'm gonna add in some gray on a separate layer. So maybe some, oh, a little bit more gray than that. Start at the temples. Just follow the contour of the lines I already have there. Something like that. That's alright. And maybe some on his beard. So for this kind of stuff, I like to add in a little fade. So what I do is I select the mask layer, and I use the gradient tool to make sure it's set on this radial thing over here. And then I just kind of do this little trick, and it kind of does it for me. So that's helpful. So this is actually how I handle most of my fading technique. I just make a mask, and I'll use this tool to fade it out like this. And I think the facial hair is okay like that. Right, and then I'll get to the eyes, and I guess the cigarette's white too. Select that too. And then I'll get the eyes. Let's see, his eyes are. Oh wait, you know what? I got his skin color wrong. He has bronzed skin. It's a little tanner than this. All right, that works. Then his eye color is not specified, so I'll just go with brown. It's usually a pretty normal color, I guess, for eyes. No, what am I saying? Not normal. And I can't even find the word generic. I'm not sure. Whatever. Hopefully, I haven't offended people with my blue eyes and green eyes and stuff like that. I just feel like brown eyes work best for this guy. Alright. Actually, his skin needs to be a little bit more saturated, I think. A little brighter. Alright, yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Alright, time to get into I guess the shading, I guess you could call it. I just pick a darker color. Not darker color, darker shade with the same color. And then I just kind of do this. I don't know how to explain this. But you know, the way I decide where to put these marks down, it's not really based on lighting. It's more of it's more of like whatever the lines are closest to. I can't really. I'm not gonna explain this, but it's not really. It's to make the objects pop a little bit. It's not for lighting purposes necessarily. And then this is what you get. Kind of this anime cartoon looking style, you know? They're usually 2 to 3 tones for animated stuff that kind of looks like this, but I just stick with 2 just to keep things simple. Unless things are shiny, then I go for the 3. Oh, okay, I got a new question. What inspired you to be a digital artist? I kind of already answered it earlier, but I guess I'll answer it again. I just, you know, I like drawing, and as a kid, I was a big fan of animated series like Batman and X-Men, Spider-Man, stuff like that. And I always wanted to be able to draw things that look like that. And pretty early on, maybe when I was in middle school, I realized that a lot of this stuff was being done digitally. And it's relatively new, all things considered, digital drawing. Like when I went to school for art, well, I went to Virginia Tech, which isn't an art school, but I did study art there. None of my teachers really were familiar with digital drawing, but it turned out that I kind of knew a little bit more about it than they did. But that's because I was just, you know, young and curious, and I just kind of learned this stuff on my own by just experimenting with Photoshop. and playing around with tablets and things like that. Um, and I kind of just naturally got good at it by just doing it. Practice is the greatest teacher. I don't know if anyone said that, but I think it's a good saying. And I got pretty good at it to a point where people started to say things like do you work for DC yet? Do you work for Marvel yet? These kind of things. I was like, oh man, I must be pretty decent at this thing if people are saying that. So I think it's really just hearing that positive feedback and seeing my own personal growth in my drawing ability, I guess. Because I'll see things from even last year, and I'm like, this does not look good. I'll look back at some of the older Earth 27 stuff, and I'm just like, yikes. That's why I like doing the enhanced versions of the older ones. Those are really fun for me because it allows me to see, and I think everyone else to see sort of my growth and progression as an artist. So those are always fun. There are a couple of Earth 27 Earth 27 ones I've done that I just don't like at all. But I don't think the fans really notice. So that's good. All right. Does that look? I think that this jacket almost comes off as black. I'm gonna brighten it up a little bit, just a little bit. All right, I think that's good. All right, I'll work on his skin. Whoop, that's not right. Alright, that's looking pretty good. While I'm up here, I'll just do his hair too. No, you're not crazy. There's been music this entire time. I guess some of it gets drowned out by me talking, but yeah, there is music going on. I can't draw in silence. I need some sort of sound. Welcome to the stream, Brian. Thanks for tuning in. looking pretty good. I'll get to the fur. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. Oh, got another question. What artist would you sit and watch a live stream of? Um, um, oh man. Sometimes Archer, do you guys know Archer? Sometimes he would do live streams. Watching him do stuff is just incredible. I mean, he's just he's on a totally different level. He does digital paintings, and it's just really fun to watch. So sometimes I'll not draw, I'll watch him, and there's some artists on YouTube. Oh gosh, his name escapes me, but I would watch him do stuff every now and then. I don't know if he does live streams, but he does have these video tutorials he does. Gosh, his name escapes me, so I don't like it. Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what his name was, but yeah, I just like watching random whoever on YouTube is drawing. And obviously Jim Lee, you know, he'll live draw sometimes, but of course he does it on just with pencil and paper. But you know that guy's probably the best, one of the best, at least one of the best comic book artists out there. He's a lot of fun, fun to watch. Bruce Timm, it's fun to watch him draw too. He's got a definitely more simplified style, but I mean that man can draw so quickly. It's awesome. But honestly, I spend too much time drawing myself that I don't get to watch too many people drawing. But I do like to check it out every now and then. Right, I'm just about done. And I'll get into the effects with the smoke. And I'll get to do the electricity too. Even though this character doesn't really warrant something like that. But, you know, just to show you guys how I handle that. Actually, before we do that, I think I need to change some levels on this gray. I didn't change too much, but I think I like that a little bit better. All right, I think that's ready to go. I'll start with the lit cigarette. So what I would do with that is, so I'll create a new folder for effects, and another subfolder for the sig. And for now, just fill that in with black, and I'll do it for the light that comes from the burning of the tobacco. And honestly, all I do with this is I just put an outer glow and put in kind of like a reddish orange, and then I'll pick like a really light yellow or something like that, and then I'll just put these little dots here. I guess so I need to up the settings a little bit. Oh, there it is. Okay. So that's how I handle this part of it, and then I'll get into the smoke. The way I handle smoke is so I do like a loose drawing of smoke, you know, something like that. I don't know. And then once I get a shape that I kind of like, I don't think I need this. So once I get that, I basically just on a separate layer, just redraw it. I'll just pick a, I don't know, like a light gray, and just redraw it and fill it in. Well, I'll just use this tool, make things a little bit quicker. Something like that. And make some edits as needed. Bring it in a little bit closer, something like that. And then I'll lock the layer, whatever this thing is here, and then I'll choose like a darker gray and start doing this gradient effect. And I'll do some of this. Oh, whoops. I know I'm not doing a good job of explaining what I'm doing here, but I can at least show you what I do. And then I'll fill in this selection. Oh, shoot. Messed up a little bit here. I'll fill that in with like a dark gray. And so you get a little bit more form, and then I would brush that in to give it that smoky effect thing. And then I would put like a blur on it. I don't do it the same way every time. It really just depends on the day. I have different strategies with how to handle smoke, but this is how I'm doing it today. Did I not do it? Wash and blur. Okay. So, unlock it. Little blur on there. Too much. All right, I think that's looking good. And then what I would do is I would just put a mask on it and then start to just kind of reduce it a little bit to make it have that little bit of transparency. All right, that's looking pretty good. And I'll do some electricity just to show you how I do it, but this character doesn't have any powers or anything like that. But what I would do is I would pick usually like a white or a very like light blue or something. I'll just stick with white, and then I'll do the same thing that I did with the burn on the cigarette, and then I'll put an outer glow on it and choose a like a light blue. I think this is fine, and then I guess I can give him like electric eyes, something like that. A lot of this stuff is just, you know, if you have Photoshop, you can basically do it. It's not that hard at all. And if you don't like how that looks, then you can just adjust the amount of glow you want. You know, make it a little brighter, something like that. And then, you know, I would just start making some lines. I don't really think too much about it. And so that's how I do the lightning effects. Turn them into Super Saiyan, something like that. Yeah. And then, yeah, I just kind of have fun with it. I don't think about it too much. And there you have it. That's how you do the lightning effect, but that's unnecessary for this guy, so I'm going to take that out. And that's the finished character. All right. So that's it for this live stream. Thanks for tuning in, all 6 of you. Hopefully more people tune in the more I do these. And I don't know, maybe I should like schedule something out so more people can, because I kind of just, I just kind of went live out of nowhere. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to be done with this. And yeah, just hope you guys have a nice day, a nice rest of your week. And hopefully you see me again when I do this next time. All right. See you guys.